Okay, folks, Monday evening here. Gonna try to do a little bit of painting and pick up where we left off. Well, kind of. The predicament I got in last time over the weekend was I needed to, I couldn't drill out this guy's hand, but I was able to do that because I got a set of drill bits. Had to Amazon them, so we took care of that. Let's go ahead and put these things away before they get carried away. And again, some of these really small drill bits, the tips are freaking square. And I made it a point to not get ones that were made you know where. But still, pretty much everything is crap everywhere, unfortunately. So a lot of these small drill bits, the end is just square and they're not gonna drill in when they're supposed to. So, but we did get this guy drilled in, and we're gonna proceed to do that, to continue where we left off. It's a container that they came in a container. Don't poke yourself. There you are. There you are. I don't think we're playing tonight. What do you think? Things didn't fall in order to do that, so. All right, let's pick up where we left off here, which is we've got some lances for these guys to use, or javelins. And this is the one we drilled out. We're going to use one of these. This is going to be a fairly long one. Let's just snip this as close as we can. And where did the file go? Well, I have something hidden in plain sight. Lots of people freak out. Why are you using needles? You're gonna poke yourself. Oh, not if you follow the things down, man. We're not sadists. You know, you can use several miniature manufacturers. Old Glory, for one, likes to do really long lances, and sometimes they supply like this wire. The wire's square and has burrs on it, and you can poke yourself too. You know, it's not an isolated thing of, you know, just using pins and needles. Good evening, right on cue, just as I was planning to go to bed. Here I am. Yeah, actually, I could have gone a little earlier, like half an hour, but I needed to do something to wake myself up. This time change is, well, it happens every year. It's bullshit. It's dark at freaking 5:30 in the afternoon. And it just wears on you. Just wears on you. Okay. All right, so we got this thing, and we're going to rest this. We need to rest this on his body somewhere so that when I epoxy it, it has something to hold on to. So what I tend to like to do is put some part in his foot, like here. You can see where this is falling. And I'm going to drill a little divot that's going to allow us to, doesn't have to be very deep, but almost so you can just get a foothold. And I may not be able to do it with that. Just to be able to get a little bit of a foothold on when we glue this, it has somewhere to stand. And let's test it with this. That's what we're going to do with that. Okay, so set him off to the side as we're going to epoxy all these guys together at the same time, hopefully. Okay, and the other guy, I had so much trouble replacing the lance on this guy that I'm not going to replace the lance on these guys. I'm just going to roll with them. The other guy that's beside him. See if I can find one that, nope. These are really old castings from minifigs. Almost seems like this alloy has deteriorated a little bit. I don't know when Marty got these guys or who they were handed down to him from. It's really flimsy. The problem is it was such a pain to drill this thing out. And I don't complain about drilling things, but the problem is the hand is so small. I'm never complaining about drilling things. This is the first drilling issue I've had, so. All right, let's try something on a whim. Okay, let's take a guy. We're going to keep this guy as a spare, as like we're going to possibly use him. Let's try this again. Let's try to drill this guy's hand out. Because this lance is broken anyways, so I don't have anything to lose. Okay, I'm not going to worry about cutting all this flash and stuff off, because if we mess up his hand, then we're just going to move on to something else. I need such a hard place to reach. Let's do this. Maybe this is just too dull. Could be that. Oh, another one. I'm not a big fan of using files Because the problem is it doesn't matter how small a file you use, it's always too big. You got to be careful you don't file off something you weren't aiming for. You get 2 files for the price of 1. Alright, this one's significantly sharper. Let's see if we can get to where this is, because we want to take the rest of this off. Okay, I think that might have done it. All right, now we're going to go here in the center. We're going to do a little pilot hole, and we're going to do this in 2 steps, because trying to do it through the big one, I'm going to eat up the whole hand. Let's see if we can find one that's really small. What, they all came out of here? I went to the stores looking to see if there were small drill bits, and nobody had any. It's just, things just aren't available like they used to anymore. I'm just going to dump all these out. They don't need to be in multiple containers. They're all going to end up in, geez, these are huge. Maybe we'll leave them in. Maybe we'll leave them there. I don't have much of a use for those. There's just like a multi-pack of different things. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have this one. We want one smaller than that. This one is, but I think the front of it is blunt. This one is not a blunt front. And let's do this. Let's take this off. Put this in. Close it up a little bit. Somebody was telling me several months ago they didn't know that you could use an X-Acto blade as a pin vise. I'm like, yeah, it's all we used to use, because, you know, we weren't going to spend $20 on a pin vise. You know, when you're starting in this hobby and you're poor, you know, you don't need to. When you're starting in this hobby and you're still in college and poor, all right, we have a starter hole here. Let's put this through it. It's probably not going to do a very good job of drilling it, but I want something kind of in the center so that when I go set this, it's not going to deviate. And put just enough pressure that's eating it, but not enough that I'm bending this arm. We're just going to let this do its thing. Now the other hands that I've drilled out have for the most part been Old Glory, so they're harder alloy than this old minifigs. We're about to go through. Many years ago, I'm like, I really need to get a Dremel. And then when I realized, no, Dremel is way too powerful for the stuff that I'm doing. Let's see, this isn't happening, and I'll show you what happened. I ended up twisting his hand off. Look at that. I'd never experienced that with these guys before. Wow. I may just have to use this guy with the lance that he has Except it's already weak. It's about to break off as it is. All right. Let's try something different. All right. This is something different. I'm not going to give up like this. This thing's got another thing coming. All right, let's go ahead and take this off. I'm going to have to put it right back on. Let's put this one. This is the one we were using. If you give up, the stupid miniature wins. All right, I'm not going to take any of this off down here. Okay, and I figure some of that will give it extra reinforcing until I go all the way through. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, you don't want to use these little lances that they come with, because you do that and you get the guy painted all however you want, and then the thing breaks off, and then you've spent all that effort on a great paint job, and the dumb bastard won't even stay on there. And you break off, and then you can't fix it. It's not going to look right. And the problem is does not chew through this very fast. I don't think I can go down a size, can I? That's the same. These are all about the same. No, it's this size or this size. Let's try it again. I got it to successfully do it one time. So I got this pack of these figures, and there's like 16 of them, and I only need 2. Well, comes in handy. Nope, still did it. All right. I'm glad I'm not wasting all my time to clean the flash off these guys. Let's try something else. This is the guy we're using as the banner bearer. Let's use a smaller one. Now I have one of those. Try to pay attention. Okay, we can clean all this up. We just want to make sure that it comes out. As soon as it can come out through there, We see it, we go to a different plan. What'd I do? I didn't install the right one. Push this all the way in to make sure this thing has maximum support. There we go. Now what happened? Now the thing broke. Wow. Okay. I got more of these. I don't know where these were made with. They weren't made in China. Okay, this one's got metal shavings that are coming out. Speaking of time for bed, I went to bed last night at some ridiculously early time. Not ridiculously early, but something like 9:15. I was spent yesterday. Spent all day. Doing physical labor. Did I just get through? Yes. Okay. Back it out, back it out, back it out, back it out. Let's not brag about it yet. Let's put the correct blade in. Alright, we're gonna have to take some of this off. Okay. Now that we have a hole all the way through, let's go to a larger one. Let's make sure this doesn't fit in. Let's make sure this doesn't fit in. Well, it goes in the top. Let's not use a bigger one. It's gonna give it too much torque. I'm gonna torque that wrist on the figure right off. Like has happened twice. Okay, we're through. Can this go all the way through? Not yet. By God, it will. Okay, I don't care if this one's floating in midair. We're going to leave this one like this. This is a very tight fit. We're going to leave this guy as it is. We're going to clean up around here. All right. We're going to leave that guy like this. We're going to take another one of those, and we'll make another lance for the other figure. And the bag of pins and needles. I say power tools are not the best. No, power tools are overkill for this. There was too much torque just using me. I'm too powerful for this pot metal that's old, I guess. Yep, I hand drill my spears pretty frequently, Steve. This is the first time I've run into an issue with it. And I think because of the alloy that these figures is just really, really old and it's deteriorated some. And yeah. Oh well. Stay on it though. If I would have given up, guess what? No lances. No lances. Alright. It's like I said, that's the first drilling issue I've had with these figures. Okay, so the other one, it's just like the one guy that we had here. Let's give him a lance back. And that one's going to rest on that spot that we drill out for him. Okay. Let's pick out a couple of horses for these guys. Now, Vlad's horse is just kind of hanging out here. And of course, he's going to be in the center of the stand. She found a really good way to straighten these things out the other day. bit more. There we go. This guy's got like damn near no flash. All right. Couple horses for these guys. Take one of these, we can just slap them right on here. Okay. Then will it work on this dynamic horse, or is he a little too dynamic? Sure this guy's got a flat bottom. Well, that's a good sign if you could just stay there. This guy in the middle. Yeah, I should be able to work fine. All right, now we're going to have to use Rod Felderman, back from the dead, man. How you doing? Excellent way to straighten my base. Yeah, it worked, because you do it too much and then you end up crushing the legs of the horses. So I gotta use these files for something when I'm not using these files. Okay, so we need 3 more horse bases. So let's go ahead and grab 3 more of these wooden bases. Oh, I'm sorry, it's after work hours. I'm not bending over anymore. Oh, I just have to wait. All right, here's one that looks like it hasn't had much action. Here's another one. All right. There's so much crap here. Okay, let's take the big old file and take some of this glue off. Oh, this one's like almost like rubbery. How strange. Some people wonder, why do I use super glue to glue these guys on here? Well, I don't want them popping off in the middle of I'm painting. I I have no love for white glue. I use it for very few things. I just don't expect great things out of it, and I don't get great things out of it. I use it for the fact that it's water soluble. I'm not a fan of that. It takes too long to dry. Okay, there's the other horse that can go on there. And old Vladi can go on this one. Okay. All right, now we got 3 bases. So we got to get the horses glued down before we go and add riders on them. Now, this guy basically only has a mustache on him, but it almost looks like he could have a goatee, but my guy is not going to have it. He's just going to have a mustache. Okay. We standing up good? Wants to fall that way, so we need to push him back this way. Excellent. All right, we're going to glue this guy on. And he'll go sit over here. All right, these 2 horses should be well balanced. And then this one, which has a tiny footprint, goes there. All right, so here is, and this is for the cavalry stand. Set these guys off to the side. Vlad the Inhaler. That's right. The Huffer. Get a little bit more liquid. I'll be right back. These need to dry a little bit before we glue the other guys on. Almost back. One more thing I gotta do. Vlad the Inhaler. Liquids like whiskey or like. You're not making any sense. Maybe you've had some of those liquids like whiskey. Oh, liquids? No. Hell no. Not if you want me to stay awake. Alcohol and paint and painting don't work. They don't work for me. I used to have a friend of mine. He would come over on Wednesday nights. Many moons ago. Hell, it was probably, let's see, what year are we in? 21? So 25 years ago. Wow. He used to come over and sometimes we'd have a beer. I'd paint on Wednesday nights with him every Wednesday night for probably like 3 or 4 years. Maybe it was only 2. I don't know. But anyways, it was a while. And he would come over and sometimes we'd have a beer. And if we had that second beer, just forget it. We weren't going to get any more painting done because it was just, it ended up being a social call at that point. So, Bloody Marys for all, man. I do like those in the morning. And I'm not a vodka fan. But I do love tomato juice. Man, I love tomato juice. I never buy it, but it's very expensive. Let's see, which guy do we want to have? I think we want to give this horse, the guy with the banner. Okay. So I think we're going to epoxy them to the horse, and then we'll put the lance on the guy there. Now this one, I don't want to tinker with this anymore because it's he's not tied in. This is a pretty tight fit. So I think, let me see. Let's do a couple things. I'm not going to tinker with it, and I'm going to tinker with it. The bottom of this thing has kind of a burr still. So let's take some of that off. Okay, let's slide it back up to where it's in a reasonable position. Now we're going to go ahead and take some liquid super glue, which I am not a fan of. This stuff is super slippery. Ultra liquid control. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to epoxy these as well, but it's very difficult to get the epoxy to go inside of there. So usually what I do is if I have a handle and let me use something that's not necessarily in scale. So I've got like a lance like this, right? So what most people do, or I've seen most people do, is they'll try to get super glue in here, or they'll put super glue in and put a drop, and then slide the lance through. The problem is, as soon as you start doing that, you've got super glue out here. It's just not attached to anything, and then you don't have enough here in the hand. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to move it up higher than it needs to be, super glue it, and then push it down. So hopefully some of that super glue goes in there. Then when we get to the epoxy phase, I'm going to take a tiny little bit of epoxy and I'm going to put it around the top here, and I'm going to put it around the bottom here. Just enough to give it a little bit of stability. And if the thing breaks off still, well, I don't know that I've really had that many issues with it, but I'm trying to be proactive with it. I don't want to do these repairs on this stuff, after the fact. Okay, so liquid super glue, where did it go? It's the red one. I rarely use this stuff. Now, let's get a little piece of cardboard, which we're going to need anyway for the epoxy phase. Bloody Marys for all, and 6-ounce cups. Oh, I couldn't believe that place yesterday had only one size drink, and it was freaking this size. I swear it was like this size. It was asinine. have much of a choice. All right, so here we go. Oh, Christ on a crutch. Okay, that's a whole bunch. Well, see, that's why you don't do it over your thing. Yeah, you can squeeze it that hard. All right, here we go. All kinds of errors today. All right, let's push this down. Okay, let's take some of the excess. Maybe I won't use epoxy. Thing is super glue has zero flexibility, and it's not that epoxy is that much more, well, it is that much more flexible. It's not that it's flexible, but it can take on. Okay, some added thing. All right, let's seat this. There's enough of the hand missing on this one. I'm not even going to attempt to use super glue for this guy. Okay, so we're done with the super glue phase. Now let's go put this somewhere that it can't create a nuisance to itself. So I'm going to fold this up, and we're going to put this right in the garbage before this gets me into trouble. Have I ever tried UV reactive epoxy? No. No, I'm not a science guy. I don't know where I'd even find that. Certainly not in a store. That would have been infuriating. Oh, to get it on my area? Absolutely. I'd have to throw the thing out. I couldn't sit there and play games. I cut things looking at some snafu. Other people do it. I don't know how you guys live with yourselves. And it's not like I'm a neat freak, but I get distracted easy. I get distracted easy. All right, let's get old Epoxy Man out. It's Monday. I don't know why everybody complains about Mondays. Mondays, you always have a day off. I mean, there's been days I've had to go in on Saturday. It's been a long time, but you always have Sunday off. So now Fridays suck. Everybody raves about Fridays, but Fridays has been freaking 5 days of just being tired. Doesn't matter if the next day is, maybe I'm just really short-sighted. I'm not worried about the day after the next day. I'm not a fan of Fridays. Nobody wants to do anything. Everybody thinks it's already the weekend. Nah. The guy who came up with TGIF was some bastard that only worked 4/10s. Mondays, at least you had a day off. I know it sucks because you got to wait for the whole week to start, but all right, let's see if we can get some of this super glue that we used on here. Using the needle for the mixer is so much better than using like a toothpick or something like that. First of all, you've got a finer point. Second of all, this thing's indestructible. So all you got to do is scrape off the excess and it's good next time. It doesn't matter what you used, super glue, epoxy, it all comes off. So let's mix this stuff in. We're going to need to glue some riders down and then glue the spear on this one dude. Let that set a little bit while we see. Nothing new. No. This guy shouldn't have a lot of lateral pressures on him. Let's just put a goop of them on there. That should be enough to get us where we need to go. take this boyar and glue his ass down. Literally gluing his ass down. Okay. Now, I'm going to let this set a little bit. So I'm going to come over here to the, I hope I have enough time for this. Otherwise I have to mix more stuff. Which is just a pain. Okay, this guy we're going to put a little bit of epoxy on here. Actually, you know what? I am going to, I'll let this set a little more for that. Okay, this guy. Since I got this tip, let's just put a little dollop in it in his hand. Well, I can't see I'm doing it from the back side. Okay. And with that particular figure, we're probably going to come back and close it in for another side, just so he's gripping it. Well, we don't want to have to replace this. I can't tell you how many people's figures I've played with. I think Essex makes like Hoplite Spearmen, and they, for some reason, they have these overhand hold, and they decided to supply people with separate spears. I don't know why they decided to do it on that figure, but no other ones, or many other ones. But yeah, see, this already fell. No big deal. And this one fell down too. It's so much forgiving than super glue. You don't like, oh, I epoxied my finger down. That doesn't happen. It cures slow enough that isn't an issue. Again, I don't know why they decided to make these guys with separate javelins, but they did. Okay, now I probably won't have enough. I'm probably going to have to mix another batch for this other stuff. I'm going to see if I can get away with doing a couple things. I'm going to put a little, almost like a glue dot down here by his foot. Yeah, see, the writing part's still kind of mushy. Let's do this. Let's add a little bit there. Over here by his foot, and I'm going to put some at the top of his hand. Okay. I'm going to take this. I'm going to push it through. And have it grab here by the foot. Okay, then we're going to squish them back down. And we're going to take a little bit here at the top and just kind of close up the top of his hand there. And we'll do the same with the bottom, although this one may be a little too dry by now. And see, the nice thing of this stuff is it's gap filling, whereas the super glue is not. I'll take this little excess off. Okay, let's get him back on his horse. All right, what did this guy do? Let's move these guys off to the side. Okay, here's the figures that go on that calf stand. Amazon has epoxy. It's like super glue, but only hardens via light from a UV flashlight or the sun. Work for spear, but not fix the rider to the horse. You're looking for solutions. I don't need. You know what a solution you do need to find if you want to find me one? Like, have somebody go to work so I can sit all day and do this. That's a good solution. Multiplicity. Remember that movie? Go to work for me. Like, work on my hobbies. Okay. All right, not bad. 1, 2, we got those 3. Those should hold strong. I don't see them shifting or anything. All right, let's mix us another batch. And we've got these 4 guys here that we need to put the javelins on. Yeah, see, you just scrape this stuff off, good as new. Yeah, it's just the precision. I like the precision. You can just get in and grab a very small amount if you need one. All right. I'm doing the not so glamorous part of this hobby like painting, but preparing is important as well. Honestly, really like watching the prep stuff. At least those tips I can somewhat replicate. The painting, I'm a lost cause. I can still appreciate it, but watching the prep is what's useful for me. I retired 3 years ago. That's the only answer to your problem. Well, let's just hope I don't get the shakes. I'm still about 20 years out. This side of 20 years. Let's hope, but I just had a physical today and everything came out fine. I got my blood pressure down, which it wasn't really high, but I was always having a problem with the lower number. Always getting it close to 90, 92, 87, dropped it into 80. Awesome. So trying to do a little bit of cardio every day. So I'm still gamer size medium. I know that doesn't mean anything, but you know, none of us move around as much as we should. And I do a fair amount of walking at work. Just the nature of what I gotta do. But the prep stuff, yeah, I'm not a fan of the prep stuff because the way I look at it is anybody could do it, but I guess some people could be doing it, and this guy's good to go. He don't have nobody on him. Speaking of prep stuff, I had a game I bought over a New Year's. So this would have been probably, let's see, I think I was already doing DBA. It must have been like 2004 or something like that, or 2003 or 2004. I was sick over New Year's, just some kind of a cold or something, but I wasn't feeling well. Or maybe it was, I don't know. It was enough that I stayed home, and it was that Command and Colors game. And I spent all of New Year's putting all the freaking stickers on that damn game. And then I ended up not even playing it. I played the game before. It's a decent game. But I did all that prep, painted all the figures, and put all the stickers on it, and never even played the game. Oh well. We'll let this set for a little bit. My grip is still firm. My eyesight is adequate. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want the shakes. I'd rather have the shit your pants. I don't want that either, but. Oh well. Not going to be one of those people. I'm bored when I retire. Well, I may be bored, but I got lots to do. I don't even have to buy any more lead. I'll still have all this lead. There'll still be plenty of lead to do. But as someone who, my eyesight hasn't changed in 35 years until like 4 years ago. And then I got, the old man thing where, you can't see things up close. So now I got to paint with my contacts out because I'm nearsighted. But as someone who's finally experienced that, in other words, can't see things up close, I don't think I'm ever going to be one of those people that's going to be like, I got to do 28 millimeter because I can't see 15s. I just, I can't see either one of them if I don't put on my readers or take my contacts out. I can't see them well enough to paint to the detail that I need to see them. But I don't think I'm going to be one of those. I got to get rid of all my 15s because I can't see them. I could be wrong, but I don't see that happening. The thing about the prep is, or the thing about everything is, it just takes everything just takes a really long time. I mean, I've done videos where all I did was paint the goop on like 3 stands, and it took an hour and a half. Now I could rush it and then do a crap job, but it just takes a while. You can't just like, okay, well, I'm going to be done with this in 5 minutes, because you're going to be sorely disappointed. And like I've said before, one thing that really comforts me is there's people out there that I like their stuff better than mine. It doesn't happen a lot. I like my stuff, but I'm kind of hard on myself. But there's other people's stuff that I really appreciate. They do a really good job on it. And I've seen them do paint videos. They take even longer than I do. So it's not like I'm taking a long time just to take a long time. It's just that, some of this stuff is just a pain in the ass to do. It's multi-steps, and I just don't enjoy doing this if I'm not socially interacting with people. Just sitting there and just listening to music doesn't cut it. Listening to podcasts doesn't cut it. Watching YouTube videos, Well, it doesn't cut it because I keep looking up and then I'm, distracted by what I'm doing. And I can't, my epoxy will dry up or something like that. So this is really what works for me to get things accomplished. Because otherwise, I'll just be tempted to just go do something else because I don't want to be here in a room all by myself. Not being able to talk hobby to somebody. Boy, this one dried up quick. Like really quick. I don't know if I could salvage any of that. I may have to mix another little batch just for that. Now this guy, this thing slipped. I want it on the top of his boot right there. Okay, I want this on the top of his, okay, that one's good. I want this one here. Stickering blocks is one of the least enjoyable tasks. Some actually find it relaxing. I could not be less relaxed. I've had enough lead as well. I've been nearsighted since I was 10. I think 7 or 8 for me. One side effect is having exceptional near vision, which I didn't know until 4 years ago. I honestly did not know. I know it sounds stupid, but it never occurred to me to work on my hobby without my contacts in until I couldn't see up close. You like clipping chit counters and hex and counter war games. Do you have one of those counter clippers? Or are you doing it with the old toenail fingernail clipper? Is your Christmas tree up yet? I see through the window. My rear neighbor has theirs up and lit. No, that's stupid. Although we usually put it on after Thanksgiving. Although I think this year we're going to have to do it 1 week before because we're going to be traveling right after Thanksgiving. So we're going to put it up earlier than we ever have, but no. No, it doesn't go up in November usually. I enjoy these videos, do a great service to other papers. And well, right now, I'm glad because I'm just doing it for me. Hey, it's good when things go sideways. And then you can see, it's like this guy with the drilling. I didn't give up. You just got to keep drilling. If you give up, then, you're going to have they win. That little bastard's not going to win, right? You got to keep. Persistence is the key to victory. If you give up, you're never going to win. Of course, you don't need to be fighting a losing battle either. So, all right. So these guys are over here. What else? Let's clean this crap up. Crap cleaners. Never had contacts. I was from generation. I don't care about this notification. I can't watch your video right now. Can't watch that one either. Never had contacts from a generation that contacts were rare. I've had them since 1990. And I am a sunglass addict. It doesn't mean I go out buying expensive sunglasses. I actually don't do that. But I can't set foot outside without sunglasses on. So that's not really compatible with glasses. If I put my glasses on, like these, if I put my glasses on and I go get in the car and drive down the street, I feel like I'm drunk. Things are moving off on the side, on your peripheral vision. It feels like you're intoxicated. It's not. It's a safety problem. Maybe if I did it more often, I would remember. But yeah, that's a safety issue. Did the camels get done? Hell no. I don't feel like doing camels. First game you ever clipped was Space Empires 4X. I got way too clip happy and clipped the corners of the chits way too much. They ended up looking like octagons. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I don't think I've clipped a game. I may be lying to you. Let's see, is this one strong? Yeah, this one's strong. Let's see. And I love the ones that are rounded. Oh. Let's see, here's a corner. See if we could round this corner out. Yeah, I think that if I did a lot of board games, I'd get one of them round clippers. What do they have? The 1.5s and the 2 mils? I think it's a 2 mil that I like. No. I'll show you guys where the camels are at. The camels are actually done. The packs aren't. This guy's completely done. That camel's completely done. Obviously, they're not sealed yet. This guy's completely done. But I was in the middle of doing the bags, and I was just falling asleep with this one. So I got all the bags due here and about half of them on this one. They'll get done before Joe's thing when he's coming over, so we'll see. All right. Got that up. Let's get all these colors that are trouble out of the way. Clean this up a little bit. Always my problem. I pull something out and I don't put it back in. And eventually I'm working in a corner on my desk. I'm always on the lookout for a chair that's lower. Almost if I could be sitting on the floor. Well, if this table was say 2 inches or 3 inches taller, it'd be even better. I'm not bending over so much, but you assumed that it wasn't a Monday night game. Correct. There could have been, but I was just too tired. I needed to do, by the time I got over there, it'd be like 7:30. And I'm like, I don't want to start at 7:30. It's just too late. I got to get up at 5 a.m. So starting something late and then being rewarded with, oh yeah, by the way, you have to edit this before you go to sleep again. And oh yeah, you got to get up before anybody else. It just became too much trouble. All right. So we got these clowns already done. Let's move these figures that did not get used into a bag. I don't know if they'll fit in here. I know they won't fit in there. I should probably do the Moldavians too. Will the Moldavians have decent spears? Let's see. The Moldavians. Yeah, their spears are decent. I'm not going to screw with that right now. Let's just put these guys in a bag. Okay. This guy didn't get picked. He's got to sit on the sidelines. We got an artillery piece. Another artillery piece. Will it be the same? Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. We only need one camp. We're going to go ahead and grab these Saloy. Skirmishers, damn it. And Man, this chair likes to bitch. The bitching chair. Alright, let's take some of these brushes. Let's clear my space here. I gotta do this from time to time anyways. Like I said, I don't think I'm particularly disorderly. Things just get out of control with things that come up. And then what we're going to do is my second least favorite thing to do. I'm going to paint these, prime them. I do not like to prime things. But it's still better than cleaning flash, but not by much. But that's still something I wouldn't want somebody to do for me. Like I wouldn't want somebody to try to help me out by priming the figures, because what's going to happen is they're going to put too much paint down and cover up the detail. All right. Let's grab surface primer. I've used it quite a bit and it looks like it's only down to here. So there's still plenty more of this to go. But Vallejo Black Surface Primer. So for those of you that do not know, flash or prime, both are the same hassle. Yeah. Okay. Whew. Let me check on one thing. Let's get a brush we don't love so much. I know that doesn't really narrow it down. We have a whole bunch in that category. Put these figures on the ground, that way they can't fall. Unless you fall into a sinkhole. Has there ever been one of those? Somebody ever been filming something live, then they fall into a sinkhole? Not that I wish that on somebody, but... What are the advantages of paint on primers? Well, I like the spray, but you're not going to get everywhere. There's places you're going to miss. And you're going to miss quite a few of them unless you go in there really close and really lay it on thick. And in order to get some paint in some recesses, you're going to overpaint the flat parts at the top. And I'm just not willing to do that. Okay, I don't want to watch this Osprey Games video. I'm going to have to unsubscribe from everybody. Yeah, the problem is I get the notification and it comes up right where you guys are writing stuff. Let's see if we can open this without staining ourselves. This stuff is water-based, but it doesn't like to come off your skin as easy as... Look at that. Even being careful, I still got a little bit. It doesn't come off as easy. All right. This is too messy to use for that. Let's see if we got another lid or something we can use. Yeah, we can use this. You spray and brush pieces into places you miss. I used to use that. I used to do that. But then there's no brush on like Model Master paint. It's not available in stores here anymore. So, all right, let's do old Vlad first. Boy, this is... And spray paint has just gotten so stupid expensive. And I don't care to go to stores and like you go to buy it and then you got to call a manager. Actually, depends on the store. As I bought some the other day at Hobby Lobby and didn't have any problem. But the last time I went to Walmart, which was a long time ago, and I bought spray paint, you know, I had to call in a manager. He had to approve it to see that I wasn't some teenager that was going to huff paint, which, you know, nothing I'd even heard of. Never heard of that. I've worked with model glue my entire life, and it never occurred to me to breathe that stuff in. That's like poison, man. Yeah, now that I think about it, I bought some paint the other day, and they didn't make a big fuss about it. Just like many years ago, not many years. Well, it was probably like five, six. It was in the last 10 years. I went to some drugstore to buy over-the-counter cough medicine, you know, cough suppressant, and yeah, they made a big stink out of it because people, I guess, use that to make. Is it meth? I don't know. It just never occurred to me. Never occurred to me that could be used for that. If you can find the colors you need. Walmart's always on. I don't know. I haven't been to Walmart in 4 years. I don't plan on ever going back. Never plan on going back to Walmart. No. They pissed me off 3 years ago, whatever, when they did that stunt about pulling all the handgun ammo off. Not that it would matter. I mean, you know, nobody had, it's, all that stuff's hard to come by, or it's too expensive now, but yeah, you don't get to treat me like a, you know, like I don't know what's good for me, and I put up with it. I'll just go somewhere else. I don't have to deal with the other Walmart shoppers there either. All the disgruntled employees, you know. It's kind of a win-win. So I've been here. I haven't been there in like 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that. That's how many brushes I still had left over that I bought like 6 packs of brushes or whatever. And, you know, some people don't like them because they don't, they have a lot of self-checkout lines. But see, I think that's an advantage. I don't have to deal with a disgruntled employee. I could just ring myself up and move on. But crystal meth. Just give the kids a beer. Just let kids have one beer. What's the big deal? Walmart is strong in Missouri. Sam is a native of Missouri. Yeah, well, that store was great when the old man was alive. Crystal meth with Robitussin. Is that in Breaking Bad? I don't know. I watched like 2 episodes of that show. I'm like, yeah, this isn't a show for me. I don't care how good people think it is. It's just not, doesn't appeal to me. No, the nice thing about this primer is I've never seen a brush on primer that has almost no examples of having to go back and you missed a spot. It just flows so well. It's just magical. And it has to do with, it's got some polyurethane properties to it. And it just flows. It flows like thinned enamel paint. So I've been really happy with it. Has zero smell. You cook it. Oh, I don't know shit about drugs. I really don't. Alcohol always took me where I needed to go. If I needed to go on a trip, alcohol could get me there. As I like to say, death, the ultimate high. So when I was building some plastic models about this time last year, and I didn't have any of the when I do that stuff, I like using that weld cement stuff. With the old, remember the old Testors weld cement that came with a little brush and everything. I always liked using that stuff, and it had a distinct smell. I don't remember it being really bad until I did it about a year ago, and because it has been every bit of 20 years since I've put anything plastic model together, I was floored by how odorous those glues are. Because the stuff I use now basically hasn't, the paints don't have any smell. The epoxy has very little smell, to be honest with you. And, super glue is not very strong. So that model glue was just like, wow, that was a lot. I wasn't expecting that. I hadn't remembered that. But I did pick up some stuff back when they used to, in the early 90s, there was this stuff that was available in stores made by a company called Microscale. And they're out of California. And they still have this product. And I always liked this product, other than, the obvious, the Microsol, the Microset. But they had, I don't know if I could find it now. But their glue, it doesn't come with a brush. You just use a regular paintbrush and apply it, and it has a nice smell of oranges. Not nice enough that you want your whole house to smell like that, but that it's not unpleasant. So you never got any drugs, but it's amazing what people do to get high. So you pay attention how they make it. Yeah, I don't know shit about it. Never had any of my friends that did any. I kid that my daughter knows more about it than I do. Probably. I don't watch any movies really that have any of that stuff with it. Although I did see season 1 of Narcos, and it was pretty interesting. But it wasn't promoting drugs, So. I think we can get through priming all these guys. Certainly. It's awkward poses that Essex makes figures in. Unnaturally awkward poses. Not all their figures, just some. Let's see what we got. Da, da, da. Part of her generation, unfortunately. Hey, Epic Fox Tabletop. Man, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, man? You recovering? I heard you were not doing so hot maybe a couple weeks ago. We're painting, we're priming the next army up, which is the Dracules army. The Valachian and Valachian army for DVA. So yeah, it's Vlad's army. It's very light army, but they fit in nice with the other armies I have of that area. So that's who these guys are, doing all the fun priming stuff. Yippee! It's just a fact of life. You just got to do it. So. Dracules army. Gonna have to reread that book. There's a historical fiction book that I read maybe about a year ago on Dracula. It was fairly sucky, honestly. It reminded me of a lot of like the miniseries Rome, in that there's not a whole lot known. So they made up the difference between, they made up like conversations and fluff that happen between things that are. And, you know, it's just make-believe for all the conversations and stuff, because this stuff wasn't written down. Hanging in there, got rid of COVID, now appendicitis. Oh, man. The Bloodsuckers. That message, the Bloodsuckers, was held for review. Okay, maybe because it had suckers in there. Appendicitis. I think I can say I'm finally gotten over my stomach acid issue that I had about a month ago. But don't eat 40 oranges in a week. It might have been more than 40 oranges. It was a lot. And of course, I didn't feel any of the effects until after I've eaten all the oranges in the week. Because if I figure it's like, man, I feel a really acid stomach. It must be all the freaking oranges I'm eating every freaking day. I would be able to put two and two together. But by the time some of it started to manifest itself, the pain, discomfort, I was already, there was none left to eat. So, man, it took a long time to go away. As soon as they gave me the prescription, I'm like, oh, okay, this should be gone in like no time, right? Because, it's not an over-the-counter thing. It should be gone in no time. Nope. It took for freaking ever. I live in Florida. That's right. Don't you forget it. And then there's been some nice temperature weather the last couple days. Don't get me wrong, I wish it got colder here, but I don't want to shovel anything. No thanks. So I switched to this primer because what I was using was Model Master. I was actually using Model Master Aqua Flat Black, and they discontinued it. They discontinued that one. So then I just switched to the regular enamel, and they discontinued that one as well. Yeah, ODR oranges. Yeah, so one of my wife's friends has their kids on a football team, and they had donated 40 oranges already pre-cut. Well, I'm guessing they were washed. They were already pre-cut in little Ziploc bags, and I guess the team didn't want them. And she's like, well, do you want them? I was like, yeah, I'll take them home. Tony will eat fruit. It's fruit, man. Who doesn't like fruit? I do. I can't think of a fruit right off the bat I wouldn't eat. There are some weird ones, but not that are native to the United States. So I was eating 4 of them at lunchtime, and then coming home and eating probably 2 or 3 more over the series of a frickin' week. And yeah, I just had this. I had like I was making too much stomach acid, and I couldn't go to sleep, and it was nightmarish for it being over eating too many oranges. So. And took a long time to go away. And took a really long time to go away. I remember there was one day when my wife and I were dating, and we ended up going to some movie. I forget what it was, but we ended up getting snacks. And we ended up getting some sour candy or whatever. And she ended up having, 4 or 5 of them, and I ate the rest all at the movie theater, like a whole freaking bag. And I was almost like crying that night afterwards, just with all the doubled over with the pain. But I don't think it lasted more than one night. But yeah, this oranges was out of control. So, yeah, my stomach was also 20 years younger. I'm sure that might have something to do with it. Snow is one of the negatives living in Missouri. Yeah, it's beautiful, but I wouldn't want to have to deal. I wouldn't want more yard work. I would want more yard work. More yard work means less time for this. The guy in front of me at Taco Bell ordered a huge amount of food, and they accidentally gave him the wrong order, and I ended up with his. So I went back, and they let me keep his and also my own, which was a big order. Did you freeze any of it? Man, that could... You eat too much of that, you might be able to shit your pants on command. You know? Next morning, I felt like I'd taken a laxative. Nice. Luckily, you work from home. You spend the whole day there on the with the laptop on your lap, so to speak. I love stuff like that. I mean, I don't go to Taco Bell. I don't trust whatever meat they're using. It's just creepy. We if we buy ground beef, we buy the overpriced, one, and we don't have it very often, anyways. But I do like homemade. I do like those homemade taco style. What's the brand? Old El Paso or whatever that stuff is. Make your own. Oh yeah, I love that stuff. But I can't say that I go to. That's like hangover food. The last time I went to Taco Bell was probably 30 years ago. Probably 20 years ago. Certainly 20 years ago. Yeah. Fast food used to be like bad for you, right? But still taste good. And it just seems like these days it's like it's it's expensive, it's bad for you, and doesn't taste good. So I try not to have it very often. I mean, I don't want it. It's not like I'm trying to actively avoid it. Mistakes. Taco Bell does that to you. Yeah, I don't like the ground beef when it's so freaking wet. It's like, what is it wet with? Why is it so wet? Maybe it's better, I don't know. Maybe it's better, I don't know. But I don't know if those places are open as late as they used to be. Those places used to be open till like 3 in the morning. You'd love it if you had a Taco Bell here. Yeah, I love that kind of food. I'm picky about where my ground beef comes from. Ah, found a piece of flash I missed. Yo quiero Taco Bell. It's Taco Bell commercials. People say to me all the time, "Hey, did you see the commercial? Whatever." I said, "No, I don't watch TV. How am I going to see a commercial? I don't watch live television. Ever." Okay. Here is the crowd. Where'd my water go? Oh boy. Yeah, I left it in the bathroom. Well, I'm not gonna go get it now because I'm calling it a night. I've been I was really tired about 7 o'clock and I woke up a little bit, but I just downloaded the Taco Bell app, so I'm making all kinds of changes that I don't have the confidence to do at the speaker. Extra sour cream, extra chipotle sauce, there, etc. You don't want to find out. Real Mexican food is much different. I doubt if they're open as late, cannot get people to work. I don't care for Mexican food. I've had it. I don't really care. I like the Tex-Mex spices, and I like cumin. Oh. So I don't mind the Tex-Mex stuff. I just don't. Yeah, I just never had that stuff. So. Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by, folks. And you know, how long were we on here? Almost 2 hours. That's pretty cool. Knocked that out. So, okay, well, we'll catch you guys next time. Hopefully we'll do another one of these in midweek before we get into the weekend. And, you know, happy painting. See you, folks. Bye-bye.